On today's episode, our second episode, Where Are They Now? We look at athletes that have been in Manitoba, gone away, come back, started families, you name it, you got it. Good personal friend of mine that I met when I was about 5 years old. And I almost remember the day, Mr. Willard Reaves of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, my grandmother's favorite football player growing up. I don't know why, but she just loved the way you played on the field. And we'll get to your stats, Willard, in a moment, because that is probably why. Willard, thank you for the show. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. How are we doing this fine, beautiful day?
Glad to be here. I'm doing really well. Just have a day off today, and I'm going to be, got a couple of meetings, and then I'm going to be trying to hit that darn golf course here if I can get on.
Absolutely. How is the golf swing, by the way? We handicap decent, or we good? We putting for show, double bogey? What are we rolling at here?
We're doing all that stuff. I like to be diverse in that whole field. I like to get the birdies. I like to get the pars. I like to get the birdies. I mean the bogeys and stuff like that too. So I'm all over the place.
It's one of those things, Willard, if you stay in the fairways and greens, golf is a boring game. We have to make it less boring. That's what I tell myself every day I get out there.
I like to play on the other fairway so I can see it as I'm coming back this way. So then I'll go over the trees.
Very, very interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So if you're out there and you see some balls that might not be yours on the opposite fairway, just leave them alone. Willard's on the prowl. He's aiming for 2 and 3. There it is. Willard Reaves, let's talk about you and your beautiful career here.
Yes.
I had to look at the Wayback Machine. Only 5 years in the CFL, but 5 amazing years. I don't know of another running back that has averaged 1,200 yards per year on the ground. We didn't even get to the air show because the air show was pretty eclectic as well. Okay. And kickoff returns in your freshman and sophomore year was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. That part I didn't know.
Yeah.
5,924 yards, 53 total touchdowns. A 3-time CFL rushing champion, 3-time CFL All-Canadian All-Star, and your sophomore year that I don't think will be matched by anybody. And I say that because back in the day, everyone always had that sophomore jinx, right? Not a great year. Their second year is not going to be as good as their first year. You were a runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 83. Yeah. 84, you come back with 18 total touchdowns on the ground and in the air, 1,733 yards on the ground, and 407 in the air. Truly impressive. I have to say, I don't know. I know there's yards and accumulation of yards that have been better since then, but in the 80s, those were tough yards. Those were yards. You got hit hard. You kept going.
Yeah. Very tough yards. We had a good team back then. I mean, we had a great offensive line, great quarterbacks, great receivers and stuff, and we played great as a unit. I mean, we wasn't the best team that Winnipeg had, but because we played so well together, especially in 1984, as a complete unit, that actually allowed us to do a lot of things that a lot of teams now, these present teams, have not been able to do.
So talk about 84, your sophomore year. It was a Grey Cup year.
Yes.
You still have the ring?
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
Didn't Muhammad Ali or anything like that. You talk about playing on a team that maybe wasn't the most skilled or talented, but what was it about that team? That O-line was huge. Yes. I mean, if you haven't met Chris Walby, prepare to lose your hand inside his when you handshake it. Because he's got mitts. He's got garbage mitts times 2 for hands. He's got mitts bigger than Doug Brown's hands.
Oh, man. Mitts are huge.
And I mean, Chris wasn't Chris came from a different pathway, too. He wasn't, a youth sports kind of guy. He didn't go to college. He went to, he played senior football, and he was one of those guys that was picked up and said, hey, we got to get this guy on our O-line.
Yeah. He started defense first.
He did. That's right.
Yes. Started defense first, and then he went over to the offensive line when he got here. I think he was somewhere out east. His first game. I mean, his first time in the CFL, and then all of a sudden he's here in Winnipeg. They put him on the offensive line, and boy, what a wrecking crew he was. Just to watch him actually literally just destroy people as I'm running by him or whatever it is. The best story I have with Chris Walby is a down block against Saskatchewan Roughriders. He had to go down and hit the middle linebacker. So he missed his guy. He got kicked out by our guard. Chris went down on Eddie Lowe, the middle linebacker. And this is on the I think it's on a 2 or 3 yard line when we're going in to score. And I get the handoff from Tommy, and as I'm going through, I see Eddie Lowe's feet going across my face mask, just like this. Chris just killed him, right?
That's amazing.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, and I'm watching. Actually as I'm going into the end zone. I'm actually looking over to see how far he landed, because it was one of those hits that you can hear it. All the padding going and stuff like that. All of a sudden you hear this one little hit, just bam, right. It's Chris hitting Eddie right in the middle. It was really, really thing to watch.
Did you hear Lowe gasp for air as he was picked up and manhandled?
You know what? He wasn't picked up. He took air flight when he got hit, right?
Yeah.
And Chris just hit him just square, right on the side. And like I said, his legs were just tumbling over this way as I'm going past him, right? Because he had me lined up, right?
Yeah.
And Chris right by, and all of a sudden you see Chris hit him, and as I'm going behind Chris, you can see Eddie just flying. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Willard, you were always mostly in a 1-back set or a 2-back set growing up?
Two-back set.
So who was the set? Who was the other two? Who was the 2-back with us in '84?
84 was Pat Kantner and Dan Hucklock.
Wow, Hucklock. I remember that name.
Yeah, and Sean.
I don't remember. Talk about the role of they played lead blocking or misdirecting offensive plays for you to give you that extra drive.
Well, before Dan Hucklock got hurt in the Saskatchewan game, Dan was a guy who just loved to block. Okay, he didn't want to run the football that much. He always left that up to me. But blocking, Danny will turn around and say, "Okay, well, I'm hitting him outside. You got to go inside." Okay, I said, "Okay, that's cool. I'll read your back, right?" And 9 times out of 10, Dan Hucklock got the job done. Pat Kantner, on the other hand, call him Spike, very rough, very tough, shaky at times sometimes, but I tell you what, he was tough as nails, right? And Pat will ask me, "Which way do you want to go, Willard?" I said, "No, just hit him and I'll go the other way," all right? And that's what he would do, right? And Vernon Paul was a different sort when he played fullback. Vernon was tough. He sometimes they give him the football, but Vernon was a good blocking back. He came over from the middle linebacking core offense. And Sean Kehoe wasn't a big back, very finesse. He liked to lean into him, but he'll give you enough time to get past. But Sean would never destroy somebody, so to speak. But I had 4 good fullbacks in my career that did very well, and we really worked together by saying what we're going to do. It all depends on who they're going to block. So if it was an all-star linebacker, outside linebacker, or something like this, we knew how we were going to block that up, and I knew in terms of getting up through the hole how fast I had to get before that linebacker actually shocked the block and came back on me. But our guys took good care of the people they had to block.
Took good care of 38 other linemen that you played with. I believe Miles Gorell.
No, actually, I didn't.
Was he after you?
He was after me. Miles came in '88. I left.
Okay, so you were gone by then. Okay,
I was gone by then. But our core was, of course, Chris Walby, Mark Morris, Nick Vastaya, Lyle Bauer, David Black.
Lyle Bauer, yes.
Who's the wrestler?
Some big names, though.
Yeah,
Big guys.
exactly. You know,
Yeah. They don't make them like they used to.
yeah. Bal Belcher was also.
Was Stan Mickelwas there, or is he before
Yes,
you?
Stan was there. Stan was on the defensive side of the ball.
Right, he was defensive side. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Clements, quarterback.
Tom Clemens, quarterback, with the backup with John Huffnagel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably two of the best guy to wear number 2, as far as I'm concerned.
1-2 punch we had, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, we had Todd Hans, our third backup, back in 1984 as well. So we had 3 good quarterbacks, actually.
The defense was very relentless.
Oh, man.
Is that an understatement, or is that pretty much bang on? Like, you talk about, everyone hears about the '85 Bears, but if you saw the '84 Bombers, they were fierce and fast, and they ball hawks. Like, ball hawks in the secondary.
Oh,
but they attacked. The quarterbacks they looked at the schedule probably and said, okay, when are we seeing Winnipeg? And that's when I have to be on my toes every single snap.
exactly. You know, I mean, everybody geared around when they knew they were coming to play Winnipeg. They knew they were going to be in a game. It was just that simple, right? Even if they knew what we were doing on offense, they couldn't stop us. That's how good we were.
Yeah. No, it was great to see those. I remember going to games with my grandmother. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to be on the field because she had one of those passes where she wasn't able to be in the stands, and we sat literally 5 feet away from where the visitors came out of that old Bomber Stadium, and she would lose her voice within 5 minutes, yelling at them, bantering them, calling them all the names you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And you don't expect this 55-year-old woman to be doing this. And the players all turn around and say, who is this crazy lady?
Yeah.
And it was her. And I remember those days like it was yesterday. Yourself, 58, 35, 22, bringing me on the field with my little brother, showing me how tough those posts are, those goal posts are, and why there's padding around them. I mean, those are what I remember playing. This is probably why I got into football as a middle linebacker when I was that age. So I have to thank you for that, Willard, because that was a memory that a lot of kids don't really get to experience nowadays with everything that goes on and the separation between professional sports, and that connection was truly amazing. And I really want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was like hoisting the Grey Cup in '84?
You know what? With me, it was exciting to win the Grey Cup. I didn't pick it up at the after the game in Edmonton.
Okay.
I did in the locker room, but as far as on the stage, you know, and hoisting up stuff like this, I didn't even touch it actually. I just went right into the locker room.
You were just ready to party.
No, not even party. I was banged my shoulder up in the.
Okay.
I went in. For a couple touchdowns and this and that and whatever, but it was more exciting. The fact is that the fans were so into it. You know, I guess I didn't catch the gravity of it until we got back to Winnipeg.
Right on. Most Outstanding Player Award, also in '84. I mean,
yes.
Talk about, doing it on a personal level, on a team level. Which did you value more coming out of that season?
I think what I did value that came out of the season was it's been 22 long years before the team won a Grey Cup. And what I valued more is for the fans themselves, okay? Because the drought was unbelievable back then.
We know about droughts.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, especially a 9-year drought. With the Grey Cup win here, but 22 years, they were itching for something, and I tell you, and when it happened, it was amazing, and I was very, very proud to be a part of that. You know, especially in terms of getting the fans of Winnipeg and the people of Manitoba and people all over Canada that was rooting for us that Grey Cup after 22 years.
We're going to fast forward a bit to your last year 87, finishing off. You decide to make the venture to the NFL.
Well, Cal forced my hand to do that, but yes.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave that. I'm sure there's a story there. Northern Arizona grad, was it always your? Did you know what the CFL was growing up in Flagstaff, Arizona?
We heard of Edmonton, and we heard of teams like, Edmonton, the BC Lions, the Toronto Argonauts. Other than that, had no clue about the CFL. There's a player scout named Ray Newman from Edmonton who was scouting me actually in high school. Then he came out to a couple of games in Northern Arizona, and then when I was let go by the Packers after my second year there, Ray was Johnny on the spot. He was right there. I knew him. He wanted me to come up to the Canadian Football League to give it a try, and that's what I did. I went to Edmonton first, of course, and then subsequently traded to Winnipeg.
So then going back to the NFL, Redskins, talk about that a little bit.
Well, Redskins was, like I say, I didn't want to leave Winnipeg. I wanted to finish out my career here, but, the CFL was going through a financial crisis, as we all know, and they're asking people to take pay cuts. I took a small pay cut, and my large contract was supposed to be for the '88 season. Cal wanted me to go down to amount of money that I was making as my first year in the Canadian Football League. I looked at him and said, that's not going to happen, right? And subsequently I was released and went to, I don't know how many teams, I think 10, 15 teams, National Football League, running 40 times and stuff like this, and I settled on going to Washington.
Was it, comment on that being, obviously not where you want it to be, but as an opportunity, how, I don't know personally how that feels like, Willard. But you stand up for yourself, you do the right thing for yourself, you have the opportunity to go down to the NFL, and it doesn't work out the way you want to. But tell me about that experience, going through all those different teams and finally finding a fit.
It was, I'm getting toward the end of my career, for one thing. To say, here, let's go back to the beginning of me playing professional football. I never wanted to play professional football.
Right.
Never. I wanted to be a police officer. That's what my focus was. I just happened to be very good at what I was doing in college, and a chief of police, Chief Latham, pulled me aside and told me, no one is going to ever have a chance to do what you can possibly do. You'll never know what you're going to do unless you try it, right? And he encouraged me to continue my career in football, and went to Green Bay, of course, and things worked out for the first year there. Second year, of course, I was released, and subsequently came up to Edmonton, and was traded to Winnipeg. With the NFL being at the end of my career, pretty much, I had a good 2 or 3 more years to go and stuff like that, and so stayed with Washington my first year, got released by the Redskins in my second year after 5 or 6 games, and then I went to Miami, and I didn't like Miami at all. My kid was growing up, Ryan, plus I had a pregnant wife, and after being released by Miami, those decisions were made for me, right? I came back home. I took a year off to get my bearings, and I got a call from the Justice Department to come and work for them, and that's what I did.
We're going to take a quick break, Will. We're going to talk about your adult life after football and becoming a dad. Okay, so just hang on with us. We'll be right back in a couple minutes. This is Where Are They Now with my good pal, Willard Reaves. Willard Reaves joins us here. Where are they now? We talked a great length about his football career. Truly amazing. I mean, like I said, 1,200 yards a year in the CFL on the ground. Amazing. Number 38 will always be in my rafters, as you see behind me. If I had to go to pick another jersey, I don't know if I could, Willard, because of our past and our relationship, which is amazing. You now got the call to work with the sheriff's department. You come back home. You're ready to lay down the law in the house and outside the house. This is truly your passion because, like you said, you were looking forward to becoming part of the justice crew, whether it be sheriffs, cops, everything like that. How excited were you to know you got the call and you were ready to move on with the next step of your life?
Well, it was different here because they're not armed here. The sheriff's not armed here, you know. But I knew the role they needed me to play in the regional courts at the time when I started. I started off at Portersville Prairie, and then ended up in Selkirk and then Steinbach. You know, being there, taking people in, any arrest warrants or something like that, a person's coming to court and whatever, I'm taking them into custody and do that and just keep an overall working condition and a safe environment for the judges and people who are coming into court. I worked alone pretty much the whole time I was in regional courts. And it was good. It was actually very satisfying to do it. And I thought, you know, hey, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna continue to go. And after a certain amount of years out in regional courts, I decided to come into Winnipeg, and that's what I did. I came into the law courts here in Winnipeg and became a sheriff, and then ultimately became a sergeant with the task of, you know, supervising over 90 officers.
Was that, I mean, working through those steps and, you know, the accolades in the sheriff's department, how satisfying was that to you? I mean, knowing that you're able to do this, this is your passion. What is it about law enforcement that attracted you so much to that type of profession?
You know, back when I was a little kid, we had a police officer that used to come in our neighborhoods, in the projects and stuff, and he would always show us how to do the you know, the microphones, you know, turn the siren and stuff like this, and I came very intrigued with the police officers back way back when I was a young kid. And you hear people saying, oh, I want to do this when I grow up. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a professional football player, a golf player, or something like this. I always said I want to be a police officer, right? And that passion never left me. And for some reason, it just stayed with me. It stayed with me regardless if I was playing football. The chief of police telling me, go try it, you know, you don't have to worry about it. When you come back, you can be a police officer, this and that, whatever, but you have to go and try out something that we think is a destiny that you should take. And it did take that away, and it actually enhanced a lot of things. It allowed me to get out in other countries, such as Canada, to travel there. And to my delight, I actually love Canada. And in Winnipeg, and the people that lived here and decided to make it my home, and to have that passion to do something or close to it was something that I always wanted to do. And like I said, I jumped in it with both feet in and did it to my best of my ability.
You certainly were a man of your word, a man of honor, a man to follow, and we appreciate your service that you've done. Of course, making a home in Winnipeg, laying down the roots, as I say it. This story becomes full circle a little bit, Willard, because as Ryan grows up,
yes,
I get to meet Ryan in school.
Right.
And I get to show him around my school, just like you showed me around your playground.
Yes.
On the field.
That's right.
And that's how this story becomes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's the oldest, right?
No, Renee's the oldest.
Renee's the oldest. And we'll get to Renee and Regina in a second because we got to talk about the boys.
Okay.
because the boys are not a spitting image of Dad. They're a little taller than Dad.
They're taller and they're bigger. Yes.
Taller and bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan definitely got you're a little more humble compared to Ryan, I would say.
Yes.
If you don't follow Ryan Reaves, forward, tough man, enforcer, Sidney Crosby wishes he was still playing in Pittsburgh, but he's now playing in Vegas.
Correct.
Sidney's come out and said that many times. I wish Ryan was still in Pittsburgh. Ryan just signed a 2-year contract.
Yes.
Follow him on Twitter. He is not a man that's short for words, is he?
Taught him to be humble, but get to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell it to him straight. And that's how Ryan and Jordan is. And they made me very proud in terms of, them excelling in the sports that they like. Right. And it's a very proud moment for Papa. For every time they play, I try to make it to as many games as I possibly can. I definitely watch all the games that I can possibly can. If I miss it because I'm working or something like this, I'll have it on tape, and no one's to tell me who won.
There you go. So Ryan always was playing hockey. There's always stories about the backyard football between you, Ryan, and Jordan.
Yes.
The one-handed game.
Yes.
The catching with the one-handed catch game.
Yeah.
Was that something you presented to the boys, or is that something they came about themselves?
Both. It was both. They would see me catching a little teeny weeny ball with one hand. Then we got to the regular football, and of course I'm struggling a little bit to catch with one hand, right? Jordan and Ryan's got their big mitts and whatever, and they're catching them like this. But the thing about both Ryan and Jordan, they competed with each other. Okay, and that was because of me, because I wouldn't allow them to beat me, right? I would never allow them to beat me at anything. I'm Dad, your kid, whatever. If we're playing basketball and they go up for a shot and whatever, and I slap it down or something like this, and make it go down the road or something like this, I make them go get it.
Yeah.
Competition. Jordan and Ryan, I'm throwing the football. They're playing one-on-one, right? Of course, Ryan's going to win most of the time and stuff. And what that was doing, right? It was teaching them that nothing's going to come easy for you. You're going to have to earn it, right? Which both boys did. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to get up in the morning. Those early 6 a.m. Trips down to Santa Gap or something like that, to these cola rinks and stuff like this. If you want to continue to play, you do it, right? They did both those. I got to coach them in their community football the correct way, and the competition was even more between the two, especially in hockey, because Jordan was actually a better hockey player than Ryan was. And,
don't tell the scouts that.
What's that?
Don't tell the scouts that.
Oh, it's a fact. What Ryan had to work his butt off, to get where he is. Right, it came a little bit easier for Jordan because the competition between Ryan and Jordan was that intense. Right, so Jordan honed his skills to be better at everything, or attempt to be better at everything, and that was hockey. That was definitely basketball, football. The correlation between the two was unbelievable because both loved to hit. They dominated the field whenever they played and stuff like this. There are rules changed because of my kids on the football field and community football. And so those are kind of things that set my kids aside from others, right? Because their dad, knowing how tough it is out there, would never allow them to beat me. And the time, when it was time for them, and time for me to move on, is when they'll do something like playing basketball. Let's take Jordan, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Tall, very powerful now and stuff. I was going up for a layup, and he slapped the ball back, and it not only went down the street, it actually went across the street too, right? So He told me to go get it.
Did you go get it?
Yes, I went and got it. I picked it up. I'm walking all the way back there. I'm bouncing the ball. I give it to him. I told him, you graduated, okay? You don't need me to help you. You know how to do it now. And I walked in the house. I wouldn't play him again.
You know what? You say Ryan worked extremely hard on his career, and it shows.
Yes.
The healthy competition, I'm going to call it, between you and your children.
Yes.
Jordan, I mean, I have a younger sibling as well, 2 years younger.
Yeah.
And he had things, I want to say easier, but he knew what it meant to compete at a higher level because he had that older sibling.
Yes.
Jordan's story is pretty impressive as well. Playing in Brandon, basketball player. I mean, one of my other favorite football teams is the Chargers.
Yeah.
LaDainian, who's behind Willard's jersey, is sitting there. But Antonio Gates, who was a football player at tight end, a power forward. Julius Peppers, the same thing.
Yes.
Jordan makes the leap from basketball to football.
Yes.
Was that an easy do you think that's an easy transition or a supplemental transition for three sport athletes to say, you know what, I can jump well, I've got a good vertical, I like to hit people. Here's my spot, like tight end slot, perfect fit for Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, perfect position for him, you know, but what okay, when he tried out for Winnipeg, okay, what they're trying him at receiver and stuff like this, you know, he had the speed, okay, he had the height, everything, right? The techniques and stuff like that and running routes was totally different, okay? But his niche, believe it or not, is at defensive end. Okay, they tried him everywhere. They put him at corner. And he can play all those positions. It was amazing. Okay, how he was doing this, right? When he went to Saskatchewan, and Jones said, "I'm gonna try out different positions and stuff like this." He said, "You know what? Defensive end. Go to defensive end." Not only was he the fastest defensive end, right? Couldn't block him, for one thing. Couldn't keep up with him. When he signed with Saskatchewan, he's playing on the special teams, right? I was talking to Winnipeg head coach, and I asked him about that, and he said, "You know what? In hindsight, he said he wished he would have kept Jordan here in Winnipeg." He said, "We have special teams. We have different people trying to block him." He said, "You can't block him. You can't outrun him, right? If you put a fast guy on him, he's not big enough. Okay, and put a big guy on him, he's not fast enough.
Yeah,
right. You just couldn't.
He was that hybrid kind of Willie Jefferson player.
There you go. And what he said was that, you know what, you're not going to block him, you're not going to outrun him. Okay, just get in front of him, just get him out of the way and stuff like this. But you can't get him out of the way. He's Jordan loves to hit, and he hits really hard. Believe me, it's hard.
Oh shit. You know what? I haven't been. I've shaken Ryan's hand. I haven't shaken Jordan's hands. I know they got big mitts.
Yes.
Big mitts. And two amazing athletic gentlemen.
Yes.
And a proud father I can hear in your voice because you tell those stories so well, Willard, and it's nice to hear. Let's flip the coin because you've got a soft side a little bit. You have to have a soft side.
Always have a soft side.
Well, sort of, because you have two daughters as well.
Yes.
In Renee and Regina.
Yeah.
Tell me the story about Renee and her singing career and you surprising her, because I found that very cool.
Well, what happened was we were my grandson Austin is autistic, and they always have walks for autism and stuff like this, and we didn't tell my grandkids that was coming down, me and my wife, and so my son-in-law kept it secret. He doesn't like lying, but he was doing this. You know, he picked us up at the airport and stuff, and we we drove to one of the venues where she was going to be a singer. Where she was singing, and it was just unbelievable. It's Cinco de Mayo, one of those things how they sing and stuff like that. That's Cinco de Mayo and stuff. But
Yeah.
she was putting on a concert that night, actually, in another venue, and and I still have the video. I can send it to you. You can see it. We were walking down. Me and my wife was walking behind her as she was talking to two other ladies and stuff. And I walk up right behind her, and my son-in-law tells her to turn around. Right? She turns around. She looks at me and said, "Holy, what are you doing here?" You know, she gives me a hug and stuff like this. But it was the surprise on her face, you know, because she didn't think we were going to come to Oklahoma to see him. You know, I try to go to every place where my grandkids are. They're in Oklahoma, they're in Arizona, and also in Las Vegas. Jordan hasn't had any kids yet. You know, I'm pretty sure we'll be traveling to North Carolina when he has kids. But we always try to make it a point to see the grandkids, and this was an opportunity that me and the wife had. You know, I took some time off and went down there to surprise my daughter and my grandsons, and both of them would just chip off the old block of grandpa because little Cooper is the little Willard.
Is he?
Oh yeah,
He carries the rock with pride.
he's the Coop. He's a bad one, right? But good. And but Renee and I had this very special bond, and the fact is that she was adopted um, earlier on. You know, I didn't know anything about it. It was one of those, yes, you are the father type of things. She was looking for me for a long time. Almost 22 years she was trying to find her birth father, and my ex-girlfriend at the time wouldn't tell her who I was, right? And it took my ex-girlfriend's sister to tell her who I was and the circumstances of what happened, right? Like I had no idea. And of course it's a huge shock to the family as well, especially with Regina, who was at the time the oldest, right? And of course, you know, like I say, not knowing that I had an older daughter. Uh, all came full circle. We met actually in Arizona, and she got to meet her younger sister, which was pretty cool. And it was weird because I'm sitting here across from both of my daughters. I took them to dinner, and, you know, so everybody's getting to know each other and stuff like that. And by the way, that was the first time I met Renee as well, right? And listening to both of them talk and whatever, it was like I said, "You got to be kidding me! You're definitely sisters and stuff like this." They love everything. They love everything. They love the murder mysteries for some reason. You know, like um, these murder mysteries. You know, on TV on the HLN or something like
Okay.
that. And at the same time, they looked at me and say, "Dad, Miami has the best murders in the world." And they say this at the same time. I'm saying, "What the heck? What was that?
Wow.
Where did that come from?" Right?
A man
And
of the law talking about
yeah,
murders in Miami with your two sisters, or two daughters. One of you just met.
yeah. It was it was it was weird in a way, you know, but it was very gratifying. Okay, to understand it, right? And you know, but my other kids were kind of skeptical and whatever, so we did a DNA test and whatever, and sure enough, 99.99, if we got any more percentages, that Renee is my kid, right?
She's a Reeves.
It was, and from that time on, this was way back then, and from that time to this very day and stuff like this, you know, our relationships, okay, between my daughters are just it's unbelievable, right? Um, they give me a call, they talk to me about this and that, whatever, everything that a daughter would do um, before, right? Not being there, but now, I mean, they talk to me, they can talk to me about anything, and that's the type of relationship we have now. And
That's got to be one of the most important things, Willard, to have that open relationship between a parent and a child.
Yes.
It is one of the hardest things, especially now with these generations, where children don't want to feel like their privacy is being pried upon,
Correct.
or being questioned. Their decision making is being questioned, but it is so hard for a parent, for them to truly stand up and believe what they're saying and saying to their child, if you ever need to talk, or if you ever need anything, you know where to find me, you know where to call me.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an amazing message to deliver to parents and children, to say, we're here to foster and give you this opportunity to do well. We would never want to do anything to put you in harm's way. And Willard,
Exactly.
you're a grandfather. You've got kids. You've got grandkids. You emulate the important role that so many fathers need to see and hear, which is truly amazing.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's and it's very important, this to stay in the lives of your children and your grandchildren. Like I get on FaceTime, thanks for great technology and stuff like this.
Yeah.
I get to see all my grandkids every time. I see them every week.
That's awesome.
And it's it's a pride thing with me, I guess. To see, I have 9 grandchildren. Okay, 9, right? And I love every single one of them equally. But I do have a soft spot for my 2 girls. I only have two granddaughters, right? The rest of them, got 7 grandsons, but my 2 girls, the apple in my eye, and it's very rewarding to sit back and see, okay, wow, look at this. Look how everything's actually turned out. There were some bumps along the way. There's a lot of bumps, a lot of hiccups, a lot of unknowns. Now everything's come full circle. And now okay, what is going on? You see all your kids, they're making it. All 4 children is making it. They have beautiful kids who's behaving themselves as well, right? And you just look back and say, yeah, that's a chip off the old block. That's Grandpa's kid. Oh, that's Grandpa. Oh, that one there too. Oh boy, a whole bunch of them here.
Good. We've talked about Jordan. North Carolina is where Jordan's at.
Yeah.
Ryan's in Las Vegas, of course.
Yeah.
Renee is in Arizona.
He's in Oklahoma, and Regina's
Oklahoma. Okay, and Regina's in Arizona.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about Regina. Is she is she in Flagstaff, or is she?
No, she's in Phoenix.
Okay, so she's close by, not in Flagstaff.
Correct.
We thank technology for the opportunity to keep in touch, like you said. Have you had a chance to have another reunion where the entire family is together?
Not yet. Not yet.
That's got to be on the bucket list, right?
It's huge on the bucket list. That's one thing before I'm taken out of this world. I want all of them to get together. I want everybody to come together, okay, in one place, and just it's remarkable. I mean, you look at my grandkids, right? If you were walking down the street, you would never know they were mixed. They are white as ghosts. Right.
Oh my gosh. What is Regina up to in Arizona? Because we've touched base on everybody else. What has Regina got going on in Arizona?
A insurance company. Underwriter. She's been in that job for years and years. Just had my latest grandson, Nathan. Big kid. He's huge, right? As a matter of fact, my sister babysits for Regina. She has a daycare center there, and all the kids are there. Of course, Jackson is he's my oldest grandson, and he can stay by himself now if he wants to. But Regina, beautiful girl, is just definitely daddy's girl in every sense of the imagination. And she can be pig-headed sometimes. She can be very loving, but she's a wonderful mother. Okay, and she's a beautiful daughter. Okay, and couldn't have it any other way.
That's Willard. You know what? You didn't use the word chip off the old block this time to explain or to think about the grandkids, but I'm pretty sure all of them look up to their grandfather just as well as they look up to their own parents. We'll be right back with another quick break with Willard Reaves. We're going to conclude with some fun stuff. Maybe we make Willard laugh a little bit more and tell one more funny story so I can start having a tear in my eye. We'll be right back. Where are they now?
Hi, I'm Nettie Weiss from Metal Master. You had an accident? Sometimes they're embarrassing, but they're always inconvenient. We have an incredible staff to take care of you. We have platinum certified techs in 4 different categories. We are certified as a gold class accredited shop. If you've made a claim already, perfect. Call us with your claim number. If you need a claim opened, give us a call. We'll walk you through it. Sometimes you can get a little nervous dealing with NPI. We'll help you out. Metal Master Auto Body, straighten it out.
Willard, I have to say I've had a great time catching up with you today because, I mean, I see you roaming around Winnipeg sometimes in your semi-retired role, golf courses and whatnot. I know you got to get the sticks out and start playing those other fairways pretty soon.
Exactly.
I got to ask you a question. Has it always been number 38?
No, in high school I was number 33. In Northern Arizona, I was 34. With the Green Bay Packers, I was 47.
Right.
Yeah, and the other ones were 38.
38, yeah. Okay. Are you someone that collects jerseys? Do you have the jerseys you played with back in the day, or you just said whatever?
Exactly. I just say whatever. I actually donate them to causes that people are raising money for auctions and stuff like that. One of my jerseys actually went for $3,500. I'm sitting there going, what? And I donated my game jersey from 1984 to the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame Museum.
It's there.
It's there. Yeah.
Yep. I see it every month when I go in there.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I donate a lot of my stuff. I don't hold on to a lot of things. I've never been a person to collect a lot of stuff. I think people who want some of the things that I have and stuff like this is better served that way than here. I mean, my mom has stuff. My kids have some things. I have my watch collection. Okay, can't touch my watch collection.
Okay, we won't touch. Well, we will leave that one alone. We won't touch that one.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't hold on to a lot of things. Pictures, yes, I do. I hold on to a lot of pictures. I have some of my my trophies and stuff like this around, stuff like that in storage or something like this, but not a lot of stuff to clog up everything and this or that. So
You were inducted into a couple of Hall of Fames.
yes,
2012, Northern Arizona University. How did you choose Northern Arizona growing up, coming out of high school?
it was simple. When I was growing up, the Lumberjacks was my team. That was my college team. I didn't care. I wanted to be a Lumberjack no matter what. And of course, in high school, I went to Coconino High School, and it was, I was recruited by almost every major university in the country. Coming out of high school, I mean, I was super all-state team. High school first team All-American captain actually, and I went here and went there and stuff like this. They show you around, showing you a good time and this and that and whatever. But you know what? It put you up in some of the best hotels on the planet. Trying to get you to come to their university. I went to Northern Arizona on a recruiting day, and I was to stay overnight there. I slept on the floor in a dorm room with one of the players in one of his dorm rooms. Is where I stayed. I didn't stay in a hotel or anything like this, and that was the humble beginnings in terms of they don't care who you are. They're not going to whine and dine you. I don't want to come here, or you don't want to come here. They want you here. They're giving you a full ride scholarship to come play for them, and I felt that I owed it to my community, Flagstaff, Arizona, for the support they gave me. When I was playing in a high school level, I had people from all over the place come to watch me play. I even had the governor and the Secretary of State, Rose Moffett, come up to watch me play football. That's how intertwined I was with the community of Flagstaff, Arizona, and I had to back up. So the fire department, the police department, the chief of police came to all my games. All the chief of police that were in Flagstaff at the time, or the sergeants or the deputy chiefs and stuff like that, they all came to watch us play football. Right, no matter if they're a Flag High fan, everybody was a Coconino fan because. He was this little kid, at number 33, playing his heart out, to put the city of Flagstaff on a map, and I did that, and it was something that I owed to them, and I simply said, yes, I'm staying home, and I'm going to play for my Lumberjacks, and I had a great career with NAU, and in a great relationship with the people of Flagstaff who still remember me to this day.
I was gonna say, like, you weren't. I wouldn't use the word hometown hero. You were just a young man at the time that wanted to give back and be a part of the community the way the community needs it. And
you're right. That's exactly right.
That's very rare to hear nowadays when you consider the recruiting process and how young high school players are thrown all over this country, or continent, we'll call it, because we'll include youth sports in that matter as well. But you talk about the governor and the Secretary of State. I had no idea.
Yes.
That's got to be pretty impressive. Well, I don't think many people have that on their resume, saying that the governor and Secretary of State come to watch a young man play football.
Yes. Rose Moffett and Governor Babbitt at the time. But Rose Moffett was a close friend of my mom's. At the time, she was Secretary of State, and her battle cry was "Give the ball to Willard," and it's one of our homecoming, my senior year, my homecoming. Rose Moffett actually was on the football field with me and my mom, arm in arm, leading us to. They were introducing the senior players and stuff like this, and Rose Moffett was there with my mom, and she was on the field with me, and that was really, really impressive. To have the Secretary of State there, rooting me on and stuff, and
Absolutely.
And giving it back to the community, especially my high school. There was a kid there. I was there for career day. I was doing a speak, and great football players, and my first question to the players were, okay, who's going to the university to play football? Well, people raised their hands and stuff like that, said, yeah, I'm going to university to play football. And I just looked at all of them, all the ones that were going to a university on a scholarship to play football. I said, well, you're not going to make it. You'll never make it. And they're sitting there puzzled and stuff like that. I said, because if you're going to school to play football, you'll never make it, because You're going to school to get an education, right? And there's one kid who who's actually just floored when I said that, right? This kid, he wrote a book after graduating from Coconino, and he dedicated that book to me. Actually, it was just out last year, right? He dedicated that book to me, and that was it was very heartwarming. And one of the things he remembers about that was that what I said to him about going to university to play football or get that education, right? And I said,
Yeah.
you know, your education, I said, you always can fall back on education, but you can't always fall back on football, can you?
No one's going to take your education away from you. It's I tell, when I speak to groups or I speak to teams, I always tell them, if you have that opportunity to take your athletics and support your academics, and you're able to get somewhere and do something and have somebody pay for you to go to school,
Yes.
that is a golden ticket right now, especially considering how expensive universities are, Willard. You would agree with me full-hearted that if you have that opportunity to be a student athlete and get your ride paid for, do it.
And I agree with that. That's one of the things that you know, I know my parents couldn't afford to send me to university, right? And you know, but I did what I did in high school, you know, and to get a full ride, where my education was paid for the 4 years I was there, was very enlightening, you know, and I mean, I see for our former trainers and our doctors and stuff like that to this day, you know, Dr. Hershey and Mike Nesbitt, you know, two of which have been inducted to the Arizona Hall of Fame for their contribution to sports, athletics, and in college ranks and stuff. I still see them and still talk to them, and it's always a pleasure to go back there and to talk to some of these guys and go down memory lane. And it's such a treat to see how far we've actually come from you know, from grade school, high school, and everything like that, to this very moment right now, you know, and where everything is end up at, you know, and it's it's luck, right? It's complete luck, right? If you're at that right spot at the right time, you know, things tend to fall into place. You can be the greatest athlete in the world, and things sometimes doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out, right? But that's the way life is sometimes, right? The curves and this and that and stuff. We're very lucky to be where we are, you know, and have the family and support that we've had for over the years.
I'm going to mention some names to you, Willard Reaves.
Okay.
And you tell me the first word that comes out of your mouth or in your brain to your mouth when you hear the name.
Okay.
Okay. Cal Murphy.
Tough. It was Cal Murphy's way or the highway. You know?
Okay. Tom Clements.
An artist, right? He can make something happen out of nothing. He was that good.
Okay. Your son Ryan.
I'm scared of him. I'm kidding. No. Ryan, fantastic.
Okay. Jordan.
Awesome.
Renee.
Beautiful.
Regina.
Beautiful. I had to get both of them. You know, it's just.
What would you tell? We don't get too much into the personal topic of things, but Willard, you've lived a life that's well-rounded, very powerful, very full of pride, humble. What do you, outside of we won't get back to your world here. What do you miss most about playing football? Is it the tackle, or is it the first hit, or is it being able to outrun that guy and say, nah, 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 you didn't catch me?
I think is a mixture of all of them.
Okay.
especially the hit and the gonna do. They know who's gonna get the ball, and you still can't stop me. And if you do happen to get in the way, you're gonna get hit anyway. And the next time I come through, you were gonna think twice about hitting me the same way.
I can remember. I don't remember the exact year. I know it was 86. It was your last year in 87.
Yeah.
I think you had 6 players on you as you kept moving the ball forward.
Against Toronto.
Okay, so you know it exactly.
I remember it, yes.
You remember that. And I remember watching this animal. You were an animal. And how you just had this, this force within you to say, I have to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You've instilled that in your children. I'm sure you will instill that in your grandchildren. I think that is an amazing characteristic to have in your life. Well, I want to thank you very much for sharing and shedding some light on this matter. I forgot to ask you a couple more questions. Who had the best hands as a receiver you played with, besides your sons?
You know what? The best hands would have to been Joe Poplawski. Joe caught everything,
Yeah.
And he was that go-to guy that he's going to catch. He didn't care.
Yeah. Okay. Would you have, if you didn't play running back, what position would you play or want to play?
Middle linebacker.
Okay. You're either afflicting the punishment or you're afflicting the punishment, right?
Well, both anyway as a running back. So
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Do you think do you like all the motion in the CFL game?
You know what? The Canadian football is unique, totally different from what it is down the national stuff. It's a very entertaining sport. Because I remember when I first got to Edmonton, and I'm in the backfield. Warren Moon was the quarterback at the time, and we're at practice, and all of a sudden, this is my first time ever being in the backfield. All of a sudden, I look at all these people moving, so I'm turning around, looking, and all of a sudden, Warren snaps the ball, and he comes back and runs right into me. And Warren said, "What are you guys doing? Everybody's moving." He said, "Yeah, we can move." I said, "Oh, okay." So I got used to that.
That's it's very different, obviously. Why do you think? Athletes aside, you have to be athletic to play football at the next level, which you were, which a lot of players are, because we've got the NFL, the CFL, we have a defunct AFL, we no longer have an XFL, thank God. What type of player in college really transitions well to the CFL game? What does it take for a player that thinks, because I think I have my own answer. Number one is you can't have a big ego. Second of all,
because you have to, although in terms of similarities, it's the same thing. One is unique, which is the Canadian Football League, as compared to the one person moving in the National Football League. The intensity level down there is a lot higher, because you're picking from the cream of the crop. You're picking from 1% of the U.S.'s population of athletics who make it. Okay, like I said, when I was talking about the luck being there, luck plays a lot. Okay, in either sport. Okay, and either the Canadian Football League or the National Football League. If you're there at the time that they need that particular person there, yeah, okay. It wasn't luck for me at Green Bay. It wasn't luck for me at Edmonton, right? Because Pete Catella, who was my running back coach at Green Bay, decided he was going to trade me to Winnipeg. And on that note, I was at the right spot at the right time with the right people in place, with Cal Murphy and all these guys. I was there at the right time, right? And luck, stayed with me for throughout my career, and it was something that, like I said, is unique in its own way, but lucky and most ways.
I'm going to ask you this last question or this last request, Willard. Outside of signing the jersey behind me, which we'll do when we see each other when we're allowed to, we have that chance to get together, perhaps on a golf course. Because a lot of these technologies allow us to record things and keep things in a archive, so to speak. Imagine yourself, imagine your grandkids 20 years from now watching this interview or watching this show. What would you like to say to them?
Be respectful to the people that you're around, the people you don't know. Okay. Understand that, you are who you are. Okay. Be who you are. Don't let someone tell you who you are. You be yourself. And never, ever give up on your dreams. Ever.
3-time All-Star, 3-time All-Canadian, Hall of Famer NAU, Hall of Famer in the blue and gold, number 38, number 1 in my heart, Willard Reaves, most outstanding player 1984. Thanks for joining me in the Wayback Machine and inviting me into everyone else's house that has a chance to listen to your great words. I will leave it at that. It's now your turn to hit the golf course and get out on that other fairway, like we said, Willard, and enjoy some of this beautiful Winnipeg summer that we get to do together and away from each other at the same time. This has been Where Are They Now with Willard Reaves, All-Star, Blue Bomber running back. Thank you again, Willard, for shedding some light on your personal life and your professional career. And thank you for making Winnipeg your home.
Thank you. Hey, hope to see you soon.
Look forward to it, Willard. Thank you.